What is going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. Today I'm just going to go ahead and start taking care of the stuff that I need to so we can finally get that ethanol tune going. Like I said, I need to get the ethanol sensor switched out, the ones underneath there, so it's kind of a pain to get to. So gonna get to that today. And like I said before, I need to throw in a fuse like this to get rid of this, because for some reason this connection that goes right here, for some reason it's not getting a good connection to the fuses, which then let the power run through these wires that power up the fuel pumps. So I'm kind of glad this happened when we were making less power and not when we had it turned up, or when we do turn it up. I went ahead and pulled the filter off, so this is quite a bit of wasted oil and oil filter, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. This is pre-dyno. You can see this filter is actually a little bit dirtier, but again, still fairly clean. No foreign objects, no flakes, nothing like that. And this is the filter that I took out after the dyno. So pre-dyno, post-dyno. This actually looks cleaner, and it has way more runtime and way more pulls on it. This actually doesn't have any pulls. It has some street driving, that's it. This has actual pulls on it. So it's kind of nice to know that our motor is running healthy and we're not having any issues with it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the rear of the car down and put the front down. Oh, I also adjusted this exhaust hanger. So it was that one right there. Went ahead and just bent it to the left a little bit, and it pushed the exhaust over and up a little bit. So looks better. I haven't seen it on the ground yet, obviously. We'll see it in a minute, I guess. But from here it looks good, and I'm pretty sure from the what's on the ground it'll be like that. But yeah, I think it'll look good. Obviously it'll look better when the car is leveled. Cool, now the car's on the ground, and it should be way easier to get the rest of this taken apart, because it's a pain in the ass to do when the car is sitting up that high. Oh, can't forget about the exhaust. I think it looks good there. With that little profile view right there. Yeah, looking good. Oh boy, she's tight. Okay, that was like way harder than it needed to be, but it sucked because I still got to take it off down here because I'm not gonna have enough room to get this out. So pull that thing off, and we should be able to get the throttle body off, or get this throttle cable the rest of the way off. I'm also going to go ahead and label these injectors, so that way I don't have to actually go look through the harness to see which color each one is to remember where they go. Some of them only reach the cylinder that they go to, but a few of them it's kind of hard to tell, like especially these two, because they're both in between 2 and 3. So like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and label them. Yo, dope ass labeling skills. JK. Trying to make a label for it right now will be kind of stupid, so I just use the tape, throw them things on there like that, and we can relabel them once we have the manifold off and have more room to work with. TPS off. Move this thing off. Now, fuel rail. Once these lines are already loose, hopefully we don't need too much fuel. And fingers is leaking out the back. Alright, pull this out. Good job, drip some fuel in your shit. So if you didn't know what I meant, that's the Flexfuel sensor right there. That's the Flexfuel sensor, and that's the plug. So this is what has to come out. And as you can see, it's underneath the manifold. I'm actually going to try and see if I can get it out without removing the manifold, but it might be a pain in the ass. But, oh well, it's worth a try. Boy, we got this thing out. It was a pain in the ass though. I'm not sure if I'm going to pull the manifold off to put it back in, because if it was a pain to get out, it's probably going to be even more pain to get back in. Okay, so I kind of came up with this idea to test if it's actually the Flexfuel sensor or something else. So this is the one that was reading 38% or something crazy, and this is the one I'm replacing it with, right? So I'm going to plug this one back up. I'm going to turn the ignition switch on and see what the BTI gauge says, and then we'll unplug it and plug this one in and see what it says. See right there, it's reading 22% ethanol. There's no fuel at all in that Flexfuel sensor. It's air in there, and it's reading 22, right? So, shut it off. Now we're gonna plug this one in. There we go. Let it hang right there. As you can see, there's no lines hooked up to it. See what she reads. 0. So realistically, that should fix the problem. Now the fun part, seeing if I get it back on without pulling this manifold off. So I got it all tightened up and in there, and actually, like I said, went in easier than I thought. But I also got these labeled up too. So 1, 2, 3's down there, 4, 5, and 6 back there. So now whenever I pull them off, I don't got to worry about looking at them and remember where they go, or stretching them out to a certain spot, because they'll always have labels to tell me where they go. So now it's just a matter of putting the fuel rail back on, throttle body, charge pipe, and tightening everything up. And that's all of them. Everything. Rail, cam sensors, plugs, everything in. Fuel lines. It's pretty good. Throttle body on. Now slide this thing on here. So obviously this video is going to go on for a few days, but now we're working on this fuel system. What I'm going to do is, instead of the relays getting their power source from here, I'm actually going to run it through the switched power source from the ECU. So now the pumps, or now the relays, will be triggered both ground and power through the ignition switch on the ECU. So I'm going to go ahead and test this. It's either this red and blue wire or the blue and orange, one of these two. Can't remember which one. I really think it's this one, just because it's the one that's already cut, but since I don't know for sure, I'm going to test it with a multimeter and make sure we have the right 12-volt switch source, so we don't have to run these right here anymore. And these don't really pull much current, so they can both be teed into the same wire over here. So that's what we're going to do today. Alright, so I have this wire connected to what I believe is the 12-volt switch source right here. And I have grounded right there. I'm going to the multimeter, so I already have the ignition switch turned on up there. All I need to do is trigger this breaker, and we should see 12 volts. And we don't see nothing. Alright, so now I switched it away from the blue-red wire to the blue-orange wire. And let's see what happens now when I hit the power on. There we go. Now we got our 12 volts. So we know that we could run these orange wires for the relay power source right onto this wire right here, tuck it in, run it nicely and neatly with these, and we won't have to worry about this other stuff going to the battery. So we're going to do that now, and then we can wire in the fuse. Okay, so instead of running the wires from here all the way across here or trying to tuck them back through, I just pulled the wire through the harness and then just put a new covering over it. And you can see when it comes out, it's still the blue-orange wire, but it's just coming out over here instead of back there, so we don't have to trace back to come back up over here where the relays are. So we're just going to tuck this underneath here. Now it'll run down here with the rest of the wires, and then we can splice it into those orange wires right there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and then we're done with this side. We just literally got to wire in those that fuse. I went ahead and adjusted some of the wire length on this so it looks a little bit cleaner. Like I said, I'm still not super crazy about it, but this is actually all covered up anyway, so just got to clean this up, put these panels back away, and then we can cover it up with that. Everything else is done and set up, so I'm going to go ahead and start it up and see what that ethanol sensor is actually reading. Alright, the car should read about 9-10% ethanol. When the car is running, it read 0 earlier because there was no fuel running through it, but now it should read whatever ethanol is in pump gas, which is roughly 10%. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up and see what it comes up with. So now you can see that the car reads the proper ethanol and everything else seems to be doing good. But I wanted to go ahead and show you this little thing that was actually my fuel issue. So you can see right here, it actually started to melt it. Actually, let me get some better light. You can see right here, it started to melt it right there. I'm not sure if this strip is just too thin or what, but it obviously just couldn't handle the amps that were running through it. And random dog that I don't know who owns. But yeah, so this is junk. I'm just gonna trash it because it's useless and could have cost me a motor. So that's where that can go. But wastegates are going to be a little time consuming. Obviously you guys don't care to see that. All I'm doing is putting in a lighter spring so we can run less boost on pump, because like I said, right now we're at 22 and I think 19 or 20 would be better. Just the fact that we made 655 on pump, pulling timing out, I think we can make close to the same power, maybe a little bit more torque with less boost and maybe a little bit of timing, but also be on the conservative side, because if we need to pull timing out, if we sense any knock, the car can do that. If you need to pull boost out because you're getting knock, you can't do that if your base pressure is already 22. So the car will probably feel better with a little bit of timing and less boost, and it'll just be more reliable and better for the motor overall. So that's what I'm gonna do. Like I said, I'm not gonna vlog that, so I'm gonna wrap up this video. Now you know that the Supra's pretty much done. By the time this video goes up, the wastegate springs will be done, and we can worry about getting the next tune done and be good to go. So until next time, take care, guys.